These are the best attack strategies for every Town Hall level. Each attack in this video will be broken down to improve your 3-star success. Before we move on though, here are the best attacks for Town Hall 2 to Town Hall 11, as these are fairly basic strategies and most of them haven't changed as we go into 2026. Each of these army links will be in the description along with the rest of the armies. Kicking us off at Town Hall 12, we see the Zap Witch attack strategy. This is a very reliable and easy 3-star strategy that any player can use on any Town Hall 12 base. Now with this attack, you're mainly going to target the Inferno Towers with your lightning spells. 2 of them should be going down with 4 lightning and 1 earthquake. Usually this is going to be enough to clear other defenses around them as well to clear out any splash damage, but also just create a bit more pathing. Otherwise, this should leave the 3rd Inferno, Eagle Artillery, and Town Hall fairly exposed for your log launcher to work through. This is where you can then use a golem with a few witches on one side, do the same thing on the other, and you've created 2 funnels. This is where you can send in a golem and your 2 ice golems, along with the witches, your heroes, and the log launcher to start working in. I do recommend taking some super wall breakers in order to help move into the base, but that way you're able to get everything to start working in towards the core. You can use totem spells to distract defenses for your witches on the flanks especially, but as you work into the core, you should use the Grand Warden's ability early in order to protect everything. This includes any witches, your heroes, and this way, when you use that Eternal Tome, you're able to protect everything. Otherwise, you can also use your other hero abilities as you reach deeper into that core of the base, and obviously having the witches on the flanks obviously will really help. Anytime you want to use the totem spells, you can use them to distract defenses, and especially on the flanks, this is going to make it much easier. You can open up the walls for your entire attack with your Earthquake Boots and Spiky Ball, and overall, you should be able to crush through. Having a Meteor Golem adds additional HP onto the base, and otherwise, you should be able to 3-star more often than not with the strategy. As for Town Hall 13, we see the Royal Champion Charge Dragon attack. This is a fairly easy and reliable strategy that can pretty much work against every Town Hall 13 base, so long as the Royal Champion can get value. Now for this attack, you want to try and get as much of the base down as you can, especially the core of the base. So in this case, we're going to be using the Royal Champion in order to clear out buildings early on with her Rocket Spear and the Earthquake spell. In case we're dealing with an expo, we can obviously use an invisibility, and that should allow us to, at the very least, start moving in, clearing out defenses with the Electro Boots and the attacks from the Royal Champion herself. Otherwise, we want to use our invisibility spells every 4 seconds. Keep in mind, we don't have any pets unlike other town halls, so we want to continuously use the invisibility spells and really course correct her. If you do lure out the defensive CC, you can always just use an invisibility to cover them, but just be very mindful that you're gonna have to use them quite often, and otherwise, once she's gotten enough value, you can use your Archer Queen instead to start setting up funneling, where you can use her Giant Arrow to snipe off any air defenses and air sweepers, while also then allowing your Queen with the action figure and the Giant and the Siege Barrack to funnel one side. This is where then you have the dragons, the Warden, the Minion Prince, and of course Dragon Riders to start working in. Dragon Riders are really nice as they actually help your dragons clear through defenses a little bit quicker, and the dragons can help clear through any trash buildings, so you really get to still stay focused. Otherwise, you want to use the Eternal Tome and Healing Tome to keep everything protected as they work a little bit deeper. Having the Dark Orb and the Henchman Puppets, or even the Dark Orb and the Dark Crown, this will allow you to pretty much clear through that back end side with the Dark Orbs 50% slow. This is a really good way to still clear through a lot of different buildings quite consistently, and even if you're dealing with a single Inferno towards the back end, you should have more than enough, including the Minion Prince, which should allow you to 3-star. Having the Siege Barrack either with furnaces or with a dragon is really helpful as well, and for the most part, you should be able to get a 3-star 9 times out of 10 with this strategy. Moving over to Town Hall 14, we see the Super Bowler Smash. A very powerful attack with all of the new additions over this year has made it a lot stronger than ever before. Now, with this attack, we are mainly going to be using a Warden Walk. This Warden Walk typically is going to use the Grand Warden, healers, and obviously the Rage Gem. This Rage Gem is going to buff up the healing of the healers while also speeding up the Warden's damage. You can also run a rage spell in this situation to speed this Warden Walk up further, but you are going to try and set up one side of your funnel there. You're also going to use the Siege Barrack, or you can use the Flame Flinger in order to clear out multiple different defenses and clear out a bit of a funnel. This is going to then allow you to start moving in with your Super Bowlers, your Barbarian King, Archer Queen, and an Ice Golem, while also using a few balloons and the Apprentice Warden to keep everything alive. As you work in a little bit deeper, you should either use a Super Wall Breaker or a jump spell to get a little bit deeper into the core of the base. This is where typically you can use totem spells to distract defenses, freeze to stall them, and you can also use the Eternal Tome to protect everything as you work in. You should, of course, use an Ice Block spell though once the Town Hall goes down. Because that Town Hall poison is pretty threatening to everything, you should use an Ice Block here to deal with it. Otherwise, any leftover freeze can be used over splash damage, and the Royal Champion can be used on the back end. You also have the Barbarian King's ability to open up the back end of the base or open up the base early on, and otherwise the Royal Champion will help clear through any remaining defenses on the back end with her hog puppets as well, and overall it should be a really safe 3-star. For the most part, it's a super strong attack, and Super Bowlers are incredibly strong, and they are definitely back. Likewise, at Town Hall 15, we see the Super Yeti Smash. Smash attacks are incredibly powerful, and this is no exception. Super Yetis not only being incredibly tanky, but also spawning Electromites are just insanely strong, especially when paired with the Fireball. Speaking of which, for this attack, you're going to start off by using an early Fireball to create pathing. So using your invisibility spells and your 2 earthquake spells should allow the Fireball to clear out a given section. This is where then you can use a short Warden Walk to clear out buildings, along with the help of 2 different furnaces. The Fire Mites are going to help you speed up this Warden Walk while you set up funneling. On the other side, while your Warden is walking, the other side of your funnel is typically going to be using the Siege Barrack and another furnace along with the Archer Queen. This is going to allow you to more comfortably create a really nice path while the Warden is still walking on the other side. This is going to allow you to use the Archer Queen's action figure and magic mirror to set up even more funneling, and this should also allow you to start moving in with your Super Yetis. A totem spell can be used as well to distract things like Expos, which is definitely great, especially if it's locked on to your Grand Warden, but as you start to work in, you'll want to deal with the enemy CC, and you will want to obviously try and use a rage spell to start moving your entire push in. The Rage Gem in this case is also going to provide buffs to your healers, which is going to keep everything alive, and as you start to work in, you should use a jump spell, and totem spells can be used to distract defenses like the Monolith as well. As you work a little bit deeper in, you can use the Barbarian King's Spiky Ball and Earthquake Boots, which should open up the rest of the base. An Ice Block spell is great here for the Town Hall Poison, and the Royal Champion can also be used on the back end, but this time using her Rocket Spear and Seeking Shield to clear defenses with ease, allowing you to have so much flexibility with everything. You also have a Meteor Golem from that Siege Barrack, which again adds DPS and HP onto the base, and it just overall supports your entire attack further. Otherwise, this strategy is incredibly strong and allows you to 3-star a lot of different Town Hall 15s with relative ease. Now with Town Hall 16, we see the Root Rider Smash. This is still one of the best attacks, especially since you gain access to the Spirit Fox here, allowing you to run a proper Royal Champion charge to create great funneling. Now for this attack, you mainly want to use the Royal Champion charge to clear out a little bit of pathing. So with the Spirit Fox, you're able to time your invisibility spells at least every 10 seconds. This is going to allow you to keep the Spirit Fox alive while also keeping your Royal Champion moving through. If you do lose the Spirit Fox, that's not a huge deal, but you can also use invisibility spells to redirect your Royal Champion if need be. Otherwise, you just want to make sure that she's clearing out as many defenses as possible before then recalling her back into your attack. You can use a few super barbarians in order to clear out some trash buildings, but you mainly want to use the Barbarian King to set up part of your funnel with the snake bracelet and the spiky ball, while the Root Riders, Valkyries, your Grand Warden, the Archer Queen, and the Royal Champion start working themselves into the base. Having the Rage Gem, again, is very helpful, as the Rage Gem buffs the healers, which definitely is going to help your Root Riders. Otherwise, as you continue to work in towards the core of the base, a totem spell can be great for distracting, but an Overgrowth over the Town Hall is often a very reliable choice since you're able to get rid of all the defenses around it. Otherwise, other than dealing with the defensive CC, you should more often than not be able to start moving, using your totem spells to distract things like the Monolith, and as you work a little bit deeper into the base, you have the Archer Queen and Royal Champion seeking shield abilities in order to clear out defenses. This kind of gives you a lot of time in order to use things like your totem spells to help distract defenses, but also just overall smash through the base with the Root Riders and heroes. Your Eternal Tome can pretty much be swagged if you can get great value. Otherwise, the Royal Champion can turn around. You can always deal with the Town Hall like later on, and it's really not too difficult, especially as long as you have some healthy heroes left up. Otherwise though, you should be able to 3-star with absolutely no problem. It just comes down to cleanup, but it's not a slow attack strategy by any means, and you'll be able to easily dominate Town Hall 16s with this strategy. Moving over to Town Hall 17, we have the new troop, the Meteor Golem with the Fireball. This is a particularly strong strategy because of how much HP the Meteor Golem has, making it one of the best troops right now in the game. Like any traditional smash attack, you're going to be using the Fireball over a given section. If you can clear out something like a Rage Tower compartment with the Fireball and 2 Earthquake spells, you'll more often than not be able to clear a large amount of value off the base. Otherwise, you're going to use a short Warden Walk to set up a bit of funneling, but since Meteor Golems can already jump over walls and you don't really need to worry about wall breaking, you can use the Barbarian King and Archer Queen together in order to set up funneling. The Barbarian King has the Snake Bracelet and the Spiky Ball, or the Earthquake Boots and the Spiky Ball. You can use either or, but the Archer Queen will also be moving behind him with the Action Figure and Magic Mirror. This is going to give you enough as you work in with your Meteor Golems. The Meteor Golems are already going to offer a ton of HP, but when you pair that up with something like the Totem spells, they're going to be pretty darn strong. Obviously, you do want to deal with the defensive CC, but since the Meteor Golems have a ton of HP, they can take advantage of the healers decently well, you can really utilize everything to your advantage. Having the Overgrowth as well to limit the amount of damage, especially against a Rage Tower, is really nice. And as you work into the core, using a Rage spell in order to power them up is exactly what you want to do. So as you reach that Rage Tower, you'll be able to clear out all of those defenses around there while the totem spells are distracting. You have the Royal Champion that can be used on the back end as well, using the Rocket Spear as well on the back end. And you could really overall just smash through the rest of the base because the Meteor Golems are going to just be able to crush everything. You're going to have so many Meteor Golems still alive anyways, all thanks to the healers and all the distraction. And as long as you have a bit of cleanup from something like archers, you should more often than not be able to 3-star with this strategy with how strong it is. And last but not least, Town Hall 18 also sees Meteor Golems as the best attack. Meteor Golems are just so strong. So much HP, so much damage, and because they're basically 2 troops in one, they can be particularly good. So similar to Town Hall 17, you're going to use your invisibility spells, Fireball, and 2 Earthquake spells in order to clear out a given area of value. This is going to allow you to set up a little bit of pathing, which isn't too bad, but you obviously want to make sure that you are setting up control for your main push using the Meteor Golems. Obviously, you do want to make sure that you are taking your time. You don't need to rush things here. If you're dealing with enemy heroes, you can obviously use a Headhunter in order to make sure that your Warden isn't dying. You do want to make sure that the Warden doesn't die, but if he does, it's not the complete end of the world. It's just how strong Meteor Golems are. They have a lot of HP, so you can kind of get through with just them. But for the most part, with the Warden setting up enough funneling, you can then use Barbarian King and Archer Queen to control where the Meteor Golems are going to go. And since both are not going to be able to jump over walls, you can obviously use the Meteor Golems to do so while they funnel. Having the Barbarian King with the Snake Bracelet is going to allow you to walk on the outside, with the Archer Queen providing more additional damage while the Meteor Golems work in. An Overgrowth spell, again, limits the amount of damage, especially things again like Fire Spitters, but as you work into the core, you should use a Rage spell as you continue to work in with the Meteor Golems. Having the Totem spell to distract is also incredibly helpful as well, but you do want to make sure that you are worrying about the Revenge Tower, so having Totem spells there is very helpful. As you reach closer to the core, you have your Royal Champion towards the back end, while your Meteor Golems just smash everything. Once they get into the core with the Rage spell, it's kind of almost done just because of how much HP, how much damage. They're just constantly throwing each other, and they're doing so much work. Otherwise, the Royal Champion on the back end is just providing enough support, and any Totem spells that you have obviously provide enough distraction. You really don't need to worry too much about this strategy once you get the Meteor Golems in the core. They're going to be able to take on the long shot Guardian, and otherwise you shouldn't have to worry so much in getting 3 stars. So long as you can get the Fireball set up for pathing, you should more often than not be able to 3-star with this attack. Moving into 2026, these attack strategies will get you reliable 3 stars no matter the base. However, if you want to check out the new minimum levels for every hero equipment, check out this video, while YouTube says you might like this one too.